Good morning, everyone. Welcome to, not the late night shift, but a first impressions video. When's the last time I done one of these? Anybody remember? Probably been a while, hasn't it? If ever. So the game we're going to be talking about for a first impressions, it's not a Steam game, believe it or not. No. It's a freeware game created by Yahtzee Croshaw. For those who are unaware of who Ben Croshaw is, well, go check out the Escapist magazine. He is the man responsible for Zero Punctuation. He also writes a blog on it for the website called Extra Punctuation, and he also has his own blog called Fully Ramblomatic. Now that I've given that man enough plugs that we could plug up a dam with, let's talk about the game we're going to be doing an impressions video on, which is called Poacher. In Poacher, you play a man named Derek Badger, who has some very simple pleasures in life. He walks around, he blows the shit out of his neighbors' bunnies with, well, jackrabbits, as they're referred to in the game, with a shotgun. Now, I call him neighbor because, as of right now, I don't think it's been really explained the relationship between Gamey and Derek. It can be either that's his father, that's his uncle, that's his cousin. Not really explained. Then again, I'm about 17% in, so yeah. But as you are walking up to him, the game gives you a tutorial and also gives you the option to play through an easy mode. Now, I would assume that if you shoot the thing and it goes green, that means you're playing on easy mode, right? As you'll find out, apparently it doesn't matter. You see, after you go and you blow up some jackrabbits, well, bunnies, rabbits, whatever you want to call them, Gamey decides he's going to chastise you for it, and then he's going to fall through the ground. Derek, being the sort of caring sort, I'm using that term loosely, he jumps down the hole after him, trying to find Gamey so he can then proceed back home. What he comes to find out is the world that he is now in is a lot different than the quote surface world as referred to in the game. In here, the jackrabbits want their revenge. So how do they get it? They want to kill your ass. Alright. Now, it should be explained that this game is unlike I Want to Be the Guy in this respect. It does give you a health bar. From my understanding from watching videos in I Want to Be the Guy, you take one hit, you're dead. Done. In this game, you're given a health bar and you're allowed to recover your health. How? By picking up Yorkshire pudding. They recover 1 unit of health. You can pick up coins, but the coins, as of right now, it has not been explained as to what their use is. The game explains to you immediately what the pudding is for, healing you, but it doesn't explain anything else. Now, as you're starting the game, you'll notice a few things. The controls are pretty simple. The Z button is your shotgun, spacebar is your jump, and the up, down, left, right keys are your movement. Okay. Now that I've got that out of the way, I will tell you that even though the controls are simple, the game is, well, not. It's more frustration than it is challenging. And don't get me wrong, I love games that can be frustrating, but this one, so far, I can honestly say I haven't enjoyed it. Really, I haven't. And let me explain the problems that I've noticed. Now, I want to everybody just keep this in mind. This is version 1.1, which would reasonably assume that this is an early version of the game, so a lot of things that I mentioned may be fixed in an update after this video goes up at some point. Okay? First off, Derek's weapon is a shotgun. Now, a shotgun, and for most people that have played first-person shooters, is a relatively short-range weapon, which means that the enemies would have to be right up on you. And because they're bunnies, it would be a lot easier for them to jump over your shot and harm you. And matter of fact, they do a lot of times. There's also a longer shot, which is welcome. It's a longer single shot. And there's a three-way shot. Now, that all sounds great, right? There's one small little problem. Do you remember that game that Aquila and Game Reviews did called World Champ? Do you remember how he mentioned that you don't really get to pick which punch you want to use? It just seems to go around the horn. Yeah, same problem here. The game seems to pick at random the type of shot you're allowed to use according to the room or the situation, which to me is not good programming. See, if you have the short burst, then a bunny who's right up on you might be able to hit you before you can hit it. This all considering also you're not allowed to duck and shoot. Yeah, when you hit the down button, it just points your shotgun straight down the ground like this. You can pull it up. You can, if you face the right, then it goes right. If you face the left, it goes left. That's no problem. But knowing that most enemies are probably going to be shorter than you, you're hoping that you have the longer straight shots so you can get them quicker, or the spreader. And mind you, the game doesn't give you power-ups to be able to choose which weapon you want. It just randomly gives you one of them. Now, let's talk about the enemies. So far, here's the enemies that I've actually faced, and I'll kind of give you their tendencies. You have the bunnies. They hop around, obviously, or the jackrabbits as they're referred to, and they hop around. And because of this, it's a bit easier for them to avoid your shot, unless, of course, it's the long straight shot or it's the three-way. Then you have green bats, which kind of hang up and upside down unless they come close to you, unless you come close to them, and then they try to come after you, and then you're praying that again you have the long or the spreader. And then you have these really weird looking enemies called, well, I don't know I forget the exact name they use, but they're like little amoeba looking things. They're like, I don't know, they're like Medusa eyes. They take about 2 hits to kill. And when I say 2, well, one shot apparently just moves it. And the other shot actually kills it. And there's another enemy which is called the Dark One, which is supposedly an enemy that you have a treaty with. Well, these beings from the Spirit Kingdom have a treaty with. You shoot them once, they speed up. You shoot them again, you actually kill them. We start to see a pattern here. They aren't nearly as bad as the other two enemies that I've mentioned. It's 2 of the other enemies I mentioned, the jackrabbit and the amoeba. But they've been bit of a pain nonetheless. I'll tell you, they're a bigger pain. Oops. They're a bigger pain when you have the amoeba being that can shoot homing spores at you. So you have to get on a platform with those Dark One enemies while trying to duck a homing spore. Not the easiest thing in the world, mind you, because they're homing. They can just follow you. Now this is really bitchy considering the way you react when you get hit. When you get hit, your character, Derek, flies backwards to the point where you could fall off a platform real easily, especially if it's one of those really tiny ones. And this game so far has been notorious for them. So being able to stand there and fight like a man, well, you'd love to, but it's just not that simple considering, oh, by the way, this game also has a respawn problem. Don't get me wrong, it's necessary to try and get the power-ups to heal yourself, but the power-ups, believe it or not, to heal yourself are few and far between versus the items, versus the coins, which right now, again, haven't been explained as to what they're actually used for. Which makes a game which should actually be fun kind of frustrating. Oh, I should also mention this game is notorious for spike traps. It seems in almost every puzzle, or in almost every room, including the very beginning of the game, there are spikes. Now, in the underground cavern, they're not nearly as prevalent. Go to the spirit domain, and, well, you find out that this is apparently where Yahtzee's trying out gameplay mechanics for I Want to Be the Guy 2, because, my god, there's one of the two the things that's going to be in that room. Spikes, or the really monstrous rabbits that if you get stuck down there, you're effed. Because he just gives a big fuck you to the player and says, here you go, screw off. And to anyone that can actually complete this game in this broken state, I'm sorry, but I like to fancy myself as somewhat of a good, I won't say that I'm God, but I like to think that I'm actually somewhat good at video games, and this game just makes you go, start picking out the little things that are wrong with it. Granted, this is only version 1.1, and granted, I've only gotten 17% in, but you hope for the following. You hope that at least the shotgun mechanic will be fixed. Well, you hope that one and one other mechanic are fixed. And that is going upstairs. Yeah, let's talk about this for a second. Ben Croshaw has done a Let's Play on a game called Fantastic World Dizzy. And he did it with voiceover help from a friend named Gabriel on his Yahtzee 19 channel. And he mentions how in that game you're hopping up the stairs because a lot of the stairs are actually falsies from the Commodore 64. I'm thinking, okay. Well, little did I realize that he was going to take that somewhat retro approach to his game because you can't walk up the stairs naturally. No, he decided you're going to have to hop up the stairs. Boing, boing, boing. As he eloquently puts in his Dizzy LP. So instead of being able to walk up naturally, which is a mechanic that, by the way, has been in video games since, oh, I don't know, Castlevania, he decided you have to walk. you have to jump up the stairs. Oh boy. Granted, so far I've only found one staircase, but it's a bit bitchy when you want to walk up the staircase and you fall, and oh, by the way, there's two big-ass jackrabbits just waiting to ruin your day on the other side of that thing. Oh, then I'd like to mention also that the jackrabbits can also mirror you, which leads to what I like to call babysitting, which is a really bitchy element some enemies had in video games. Most notably what I like to call the plunger walkers in Mega Man 3, who would walk one way, but the minute they saw you walk the other way, they did a U-turn and mimicked you. This is no joke. So Yahtzee figured, hey, let's bring that mechanic in the game. Should also be noted, by the way, that the spike traps that he puts in the game don't harm the enemies. No, just you. Now, I'll grant that mechanic's been in video gaming forever, so I'm not going to bitch on that, but spikes. Woo! You know, I'm glad he wants to make a retro platformer, retro shooter type, shooter game. I can respect that. But does it really need that many spikes when, oh, by the way, you made the enemies really bitchy in the first place? Now, yes, you do get the aid of a spirit, one of the spirit citizens, and she does give you a couple of abilities. One is to jump really high. The problem is you lose this ability fairly quickly. No joke. Like, right as soon as you get the ability, you just about lose it. So why did you tell me about how to do it in the first place? Because I'm going to lose it within 5 seconds. Despite the fact that this game does have an easy mode, like I said, it's not easy. It's quite a bitchy game, and it is one of the more frustrating games, and not frustrating in a good way. It kind of makes you wonder who he made this game for. Did he make it for everyone, or did he make it for the people that played I Want to Be the Guy, ran circles around that one, and said, oh, let's make this game? So far, from the bit I've played, I wouldn't be able to recommend it. Now let me play it all the way through, and maybe these, complaints will be voided. Then again, after this video is put up, maybe he will announce on his blog that he has put up a updated version with some bug fixes, because, oh, here's a real bitchy fix, a real bitchy bug that's in that game. In order to be able to close out of the game, he does not put an X button on the window. No, here's what you have to do. You have to, and this is the fun one, kids, you have to go into your task manager, and you have to close out the folder and close out that window. Because he wasn't smart enough to put an X button on the window. You know, the X button. That thing that's on web browsers to close out your browser, and also the thing that's on most program windows to close out the program. Yeah, he didn't put that on there. He did give you a way to back out to the title screen, but even on there's no X button, so you can exit the game proper. Maybe hopefully that'll be fixed, because that's like programming 101. I don't know. Here's what I will do. For any masochists out there that want to play a retro style game, and if you want to challenge my way of thinking on this game, I welcome it. Link will be down here in the description for you to play the game. It is a free game, and according to Escapist's website, there is not malware. Matter of fact, I ran it through my it got ran through my Norton security suite, and it came up green, which means it is A-OK. So, check the game out, let me know what you think, and let me know if I'm just fuck all nuts. I apologize, I didn't think this first impressions was going to go 20 goddamn minutes. But as we all know, I go in depth on these fuckers, so I will talk to you later tonight when I do the J Mellow Weekly Recap on my other channel. And I might have a surprise for you on Monday morning because I have another video series I'm planning on starting this month, in which we challenge a popular way of thinking on a subject. That series is called A Devil's Advocate. So, until then, my friends, you all have a great night, and let me know what you think, like I said, in the comments below. Link will be also in the description to the game. Later, gang.